Okay, these two panels are in parallel at 12 volts. This long skinny one is well over 30 years old. You can see it's taken some damage in the past. Both of these together on a really good day put out about 6 amps. These are the newer panels and they're in series parallel, and they're technically 100 watt panels. I've seen them put up close to 90 watts. You are not going to get 100 watts out of these things going directly to the battery bank, because in order to put out 100 watts they need to be over 17 volts. And you're not going to have your battery bank get up to 17 volts. So they'll drag the voltage down, and there goes a lot of your wattage. So these four are going to an MPPT charge controller, and it power point on it's in the neighborhood of 34 volts for the series configuration. So, and I guess we will go look at the charge controller next. This tower here does cast a shadow on these panels here for a short period of time, but I just have to live with that. And while we're on the subject, you can see that there's quite a few trees here. Now in the summer that's not a problem. In the winter it's going to be a problem. So we will be moving these panels up closer to the peak of the roof here. And we might wind up having to trim some of these trees a little bit. These trees are in the direction of sunset, and they do block the panels late in the evening, but not enough that it would be worth trimming them down. So we're just leaving them as they are. The dog's getting bigger. She weighs 50 pounds. I think she's about 6 months old now. We got her as a puppy. The guy said she was a Chihuahua, but I'm beginning to have my suspicions. Okay, this is the charge controller. Now the two panels that are in parallel do not go through this charge controller. They just go straight to the battery, and I figure we just get whatever we can get out of them. I did not want to parallel those with the four 100 watt panels, because there's no telling how what would have happened there, and it probably wouldn't have been good. Right now we're getting 11.8 amps or so. It's overcast. Normally this time of day it'd be up to about 23 amps. Battery bank's at 13.5. Solar panels are at 31.1 volts. So, and this is the inverter right here. It's currently running the house, and it's showing 13.2 volts, but its voltmeter is not accurate. So we're actually looking at a 13.4 volts. This is our kilowatt meter. So it's currently showing 115 volts. We're drawing 88.2 watts, which is lower than we normally draw. And 20 amp hours. I mean watt hours, pardon me. Normally we get about 1 1/4 kilowatts per day out of this system. Which just suits me fine. Oh, batteries. got a heat shield because we don't want our batteries getting hot. The copper bus bars were made out of copper tubing, just hammered flat and drilled. You'll notice this battery looks older than the others, and it is. It's about a year older. These three are new, and a lot of people are going to throw a fit about that, but the fact is we get more capacity out of this bank with the old battery tied in along with the new one, so we're going to leave it tied in. And that's pretty much the whole system. These wires here are coming from the parallel 12 volt panels up there. The other wires, this one is coming from the series parallel going into the charge controller. These wires are coming from the charge controller going into the battery. All of these wires here are going to the inverter, and that is a problem I have seen a lot on videos with these inverters. They get a 1500 watt inverter and they can't get nowhere near 1500 watts out of it. That is because they are not giving enough capacity on the wiring going between the batteries and the inverter. This little blue wire here and the red one back here are the wires that came with the inverter. That is not nearly enough to run a 1500 watt inverter. Also, back when we just had this one battery in the system, that is not enough battery to run a 1500 watt inverter. So now that we've got these 4 batteries all parallel, we've got plenty of capacity, we've got plenty of cabling going into the inverter, and I really don't have any problem getting 1500 watts out of the inverter, but I don't do that because it doesn't like it. I don't recommend running it at that constantly, but these people that say that things are tripping offline when they only get 5 or 6 or 800 watts out of these things, get bigger cables. Make sure you have enough battery capacity to do some good. And that's pretty much it for our system in this video.